Hi everyone, and welcome back for another section of Afro in Action. I'm Venice. First of all, we want to thank you for the continued support you're showing us and the love by sharing our videos, and we invite you to stay tuned because we have a lot coming for you. So today Afro in Action has the honor to sit with a very vibrant entrepreneur and a tech guru named Fabrice Pani. So Fabrice is a young Cameroonian entrepreneur living in the Washington DC area, more specifically in Baltimore. And at his young age, he already wears many hats. He is known as the founder of Pani Computer Solutions, the CEO of Laptop Buyers, and the designer behind Yayato.com. So we are very appreciative and enthusiastic to talk to him today so he can share what it is like to be both an entrepreneur and a student. So welcome, Fabrice.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming and talking to us today.
It's my pleasure.
So I briefly introduced you, but in your own word, how would you introduce yourself? Who is Fabrice Pani?
Well, I think you already said it all, but if I were to add something, it would be that I moved here in 2009, and I attended Springbrook High School.
Okay.
And ultimately Montgomery College, and now I'm enrolled at University of Baltimore.
Okay.
University of Maryland, Baltimore County,
yeah,
UMBC, and I'm studying information system. When it comes to entrepreneurial life, I think you already said it all. I have 3 businesses, which are Pani Computer Solution, Laptop Buyers, and Yayato.com.
Okay.
And I hope during this interview we will touch each of them as we go through.
Oh yeah, that's the goal of the whole interview. So you mentioned that you study
Information
systems. So and all your business are about the internet, I say. So is that kind of a training for your businesses, or are those two completely different?
Oh no, they are very, very similar. Like what I actually study is what I do. So everything I learn from the classroom, I try to implement it in the real life.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what information system is all about. They don't only teach you about the technological side, but also about the business side of it. So that's why it's important to me. That's why I study what I'm studying.
Okay.
Yeah.
So and you are still a student.
Right.
So how do you, because you say you have 3 businesses, I mentioned 3 businesses,
Right.
and I know through those businesses you also sponsor a lot of events.
Right.
So how do you manage both being an entrepreneur and a student at the same time?
Well, that's a great question. What I do is it's all about commitment. It's about what you gotta do, and I also have a lot of partners, like partners and a team of people that I work with.
Okay.
So they kind of take a burden off my shoulder, and they take some part of the workflow, and that's why we are able to manage all of them and still go to school.
Nice.
So it's about partnership with my other people.
And are all your partners also African?
About 2 of them are Africans, and one of the main one, which is a girl, she's from Haiti, and we have been working together for more than 4 years now.
Okay.
And she's amazing.
Nice. So I want to backtrack and go to your origins. So you're Cameroonians.
Right.
So where did your journey start, like from Cameroon to the US, and how did you decide that you wanted to become an entrepreneur and then dive into your domain of expertise?
Well, that's another great question. Nobody has ever asked me that question. But I would say since my young age, I've been an entrepreneur since I was very, very young. People will know me actually when I was in Lycée Classique de Parenté. I used to be a photographer. I was like in 5e.
Okay.
And then everybody who went to that school, I know, during that time, I know they know me, and then I was very involved.
Okay.
I was also vice president of Club Photo, Club Journalism, and stuff like that. So I would say it started I started when I was very young, but when I came in the US, I knew photography was not really something that I was very in love with, although I still do it as, you know, part-time, I mean like in my free time, but I knew when I see opportunity everywhere, I just put myself into it, you know. So that's how it kind of started, but it's a long story. That's just to make a long story short, yeah.
Okay. And talking about now your individual businesses.
Right.
Before we dive into each one of them, can you globally tell us what they are about?
Sure. Pani Computer Solution is actually my first business and the main one that kind of sponsor other ones. Well, like I told you before, I went to Springbrook High School, and ultimately I was gonna have a half day at Springbrook because I completed all my credits. So my counselor advised me to attend Thomas Edison High School of Technology, where I've learned about computers, and I earned so many industry standard certification. And when I got out of that school, I know how to fix computers. I knew how to do stuff. So I created Pani Computer Solution, and what I was doing at the time was just like providing computer repair to my friends, family, and ultimately extended to all the community, like Cambodian community, and then Guinean and other African community, you know. And yeah, so that's how it got created. And what we do now, we also do computer repair, IT support for businesses, and we also do like when I'll talk about marketing, like web marketing, like SEO, and we also do web development. If you have a business, you need a website, you know, and stuff like that. We have a package for you, and that's to talk only about Pani Computer Solution. But now, if you would talk about laptop buyers, I mean, before it was kind of the same, but as I was growing too fast, I think there was a need to kind of separate them to make every business kind of independent. So laptop buyers, as the name suggests, is just like we buy laptops from people and from organization. When it's time to recycle their laptop, we can buy it and recycle it and resell it for people at a very low price, you know. So that's all we do at Laptop Buys, and I appreciate that a lot of people are calling and do business with us. And the third one actually is yayato.com, which I created. It's about 2 months old. And the goal was, you know, when I first started my first business, I had a lot of difficulty advertising them to people. I had a lot of difficulty getting in touch with people who needed my service, you know. And working at Staples, I see that a lot of people come there not because they just want to go and spend a lot of money there, but just because they don't know who to call, like on the side to do their little stuff that they need, like, and that's where the idea came from. I was like, what about if I created something where people can come and post about, you know, people can still have their full-time job and they just need like extra money. Why don't they go there like some other African girls that I know, they know how to do hair braiding very well. And one of the struggle that they have and the reason why they can do it is because they don't know, they just do it for their friends. And what about if they go on yayato.com and post it, and not only their friends can contact them, but other people who like their, you know, what they do, and you can actually post picture of the hair that you do, the video, and anything, any helpful information that can lead people to call you, to contact you. So that's the idea behind that. So I think in general, that's what Laptop Buyers, Pani Computer Solution, and Yayato is all about.
And Yayato is a funny connotation that in Cameroon, they call me Yayato. It's like embracing. So was that kind of like, I know you say the need for a marketing platform for those small companies or even an individual that's offering services.
Right.
Doesn't know how. That's what yayato.com does.
Right.
So was it also that you wanted those people to feel welcome and important that you chose Yayato? Like, why did you choose Yayato specifically?
Well, my first motivation was like, it's a well-known name in Cameroon. So
Okay.
it was marketing purpose first.
Okay.
But actually, like you said, it makes more sense, more than that, you know? But my main focus was like to choose a name that people are already familiar with instead of choosing a name that they will not know. Like, I just want to drive curiosity, you know? Like, you hear the name, what's that? I want to check it out. And then yeah, I just want to like create some curiosity in people's mind. And ultimately, when they check it out, they might fall in love with it. And that was the purpose. But as you mentioned, I think it can also mean embrace, you know.
Yeah. So even though you have that expression, the market is open to pretty much everyone.
Everyone.
Okay.
There's no limit to the geolocation where you live. If you can be in Cameroon and still post stuff on Yayato about your business and stuff like that. And in Yayato 2.0, which is coming up in a few weeks, we will, you know, it will detect your location. If you are in Cameroon, for example, it will just show you ads like business listing about that specific area.
Okay.
You know, if you're in the US, if you're in Europe, and then you just, yeah, in the coming weeks, we are working on that, and it should be available online soon.
Nice. So it's a website, not an application.
No, it's ultimately we will do the application as well, but we want the website, we want people to use it and get some user experience, and then when we are building our application, we will kind of, you know, fix the problem that maybe they are having using our service.
Okay. So in that whole description, you mentioned difficulties or challenges.
Right.
You are fairly young. I can assume that we are about the same age, and you're already far advanced. So I want to know, what were your challenges when you started?
Wow. That's a tough question right there. I had so many challenges, and I know everybody who is starting out a business, and I still have some today, you know. I was able to overcome some of them, but the main one, like I told you before, is although you know what you're doing, you provide high quality service, but how do you get people to trust you?
Okay.
How do you get people to come to you, you know? That's the main challenge. And the second one will be about, you know, when you start, especially when it's not your country, you don't really know what is gonna work and what's not gonna work. You know, what people like, how people are gonna take it. Like sometimes I will schedule an appointment with people, and then I'll get like just 5 minutes late. They will tell me, "Oh, you are late, you know, I already call somebody else."
Oh.
And then with the Cameroonian mentality, when we came here, you know, it's like you don't care too much about time. So those are the kind of challenges that we have when we start a business in the US, because the customer is very demanding. Sometimes when you say you're gonna do this, you have to do it perfectly, you know. If you don't, you'll be in trouble. And stuff like that.
Today, what is your biggest, like if you were to just name one, what's the biggest challenge we have today, that you have today?
Well, the biggest challenge is still, how do you get more people, you know? How do you get more people to come to you? Yeah, how can you increase your sale from you know 10 people per week to 20 to 30 to 40, and then how can you make them, you know, like I said, this country is people in this country are very demanding, you know. Even for a little thing, they might rate your service very low. You know, you have to make sure the customer service is hard, because you actually have to make at least 98% of your customer very happy with your service or whatever you are doing. So that's very challenging, and I try, you know.
If you are still in business, I guess you're doing great.
Yeah.
So I mentioned your age. So How does it feel to be this young and be an entrepreneur and be a CEO and having friends your age that may not be doing so well? How do you cope with all that, and how do you sometimes turn off the voice of I don't want to say voice of reason, but the voice that's saying take your time, you're still young?
Oh, that's actually another great question. I feel like if I didn't start now, if I didn't start the time that I started, maybe I will never start. Maybe, I'll just do like anybody else, go to work, get a paycheck and stuff like that. So starting at a young age is the best thing that ever happened to me, because I know a lot of tricks. I know about customer service. I know about, so many things in business. I've been reading a lot of business book and try to increase my knowledge, every time. So if, for instance, if I already had kids, a wife and stuff like that, and I'm trying to be an entrepreneur, I think, honestly, it was going to be very hard. So I encourage anyone who has an idea, who is still young, because you have nothing to lose.
It's less risky.
It's less risky because actually, if all my business doesn't work out, I can actually go back to work. And I'm not sacrificing anything. Although I'm not trying to be like being a CEO young. It comes with your own stress, but you can manage it. As the longer you stay, the longer you know how to manage and cope with those stress. Because sometimes even at 11 p.m. in the afternoon, in the evening, people will be calling you. Oh, I need my computer.
Really?
Oh, my website is down.
Wow.
And you still have to like go and fix it because it's important to them. When they call you, it's maybe a student who needs to submit a paper and his computer is not working. You have to help them over the phone, or it's a business owner, like I'm building a website for a lawyer right now, and he'll call you and be like, oh, I don't need this information on my website. Why did you put it there? Take it off, I don't want to get sued and stuff like that. So you have to, it comes with its own stress, but I think the advantage always way more than the stress that it comes with it. But it's very good to start early. The early you start, the more successful you can be.
What about your friends or the people around you? How do they embrace your position as an entrepreneur?
Oh my God, that's another great question. When I first started, honestly, I would say 80% of my friends, they didn't believe in me, because they are just like regular people. They just want you to go get a job, and when you tell them about the problem, like, okay, I have this client, she's calling me, you just like block his phone number, stuff like that. And then they always try to discourage you. I don't know if it's purposely or if that's what they really say what they mean, But sometimes they always try to tell you, yeah, it's not going to work. This is America. A lot of people are doing the same thing, How you coming from Cameroon and, and you don't speak good English as people who were born here. How are you going to survive in this business, It's not for you. It's better to go graduate, get a better job, work for a corporation and stuff like that. And then, yeah, it's very, very difficult to, but as I didn't like listen to them, I had my own idea in my mind. I just want to make, and it was very encouraging from them saying that to me. I was just trying to prove them wrong. It makes me work like 2 times harder. They would just tell you can't do it, and then in my mind, like, okay, I'm gonna prove this guy wrong. I'm gonna do it and make sure I hire him. One day he's gonna work for me. And then and as you go through, when I started sponsoring some event in my community, people see the name Pani Computer, and then kind of be like, wow, this guy. Some of them try to take it back and be like, oh, what do you do? How do you make money? And blah blah blah. And I know a lot of people who are starting, they face the same kind of situation. People around you, and sometimes some of them, when it's too harsh, sometimes you just have to get rid of them. You know, you don't need advice from everybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
You just need to know how to pick
Yeah,
the
you just
advice.
have to have your vision
Yeah.
and stick to it. If you believe in your vision, because there's some vision that obviously you tell me, and then I'm gonna be like, Venice, honestly, I think it's not gonna work. You know?
Okay.
Yeah, but if you believe in it, if you know that what you are trying to do, you do it differently.
Okay.
And most of the time, people tell you, "I've done what you are trying to do 3 times, I failed." You know, and then why should you stop? Just because you try, you fail. Maybe if I do it differently, I can do the same thing as you did and
Yes.
fail and still succeed, you know? But I just do, maybe you didn't know how to do customer service, you didn't know how to use technology and stuff like that. And maybe, what about if I use the same thing, but, you know, add some value to it and my own vision to it. So, yeah, those are a very common thing, you know? Yeah.
Okay. So how hard was it for you to start your businesses in Maryland? All of them are registered in Maryland. So
Wow.
how hard was it to actually get them going in terms of laws and regulations in Maryland?
Actually, that was easier. That was the easiest part of it. That was easy than I thought, you know. Actually, you just have to go, if you have a computer, that's it. You just go on the computer, you don't need an accountant or a lawyer to register. You just go on the website. First of all, you just need to go to the federal website and get your business ID. And once you get your business ID, I think you can go now to the Maryland website and register, and then within 2-3 days, I mean, it all depends. Because the one I did is LLC.
Okay.
So I think they have corporation, and other personal, you know, business and stuff like that. So I think it depends on what you want to do. Maybe if it's a corporation, it may take a little longer. But for my case, I did it on the computer, and within 2 days, they sent me an email with your business and everything that you need to know. You just have to pay online. I think it's less than $300 or about 300.
On laptop buyers.
Right.
When I was browsing it, there was your mission statement that actually I actually really
Captured
like.
attention.
Yes, where you were like, your goal is to make every computer affordable to every citizen.
Every citizen, right.
So, are you limiting your scope of help only in America, or are you trying to transgress that help to Cameroon and Africa in general?
Oh, wow. That's actually, that's not, I mean, how can I say that? How can I put it? That's actually the opposite of what we do, you know.
Okay.
In America, about 90% of people have computers, or among the 10 that don't have, maybe they don't just need one, or you know. But we are more focused in countries like Africa, you know. We need a tech boom there, and then in order to accomplish that, people need to have the technology adequate to do it, you know. People still use computer with Celeron, and they do Photoshop and stuff like that. Our goal actually is to buy as many laptops here in America from people from a school and from other business, you know. Here most of the time, every 3 years they change the you know,
the computer
system, all the IT equipment, because you know, every 3 years there's some more efficient one that comes out.
Yes.
And yeah, so our goal is to buy those here in America, recycle it, and start in Cameroon. You know, our goal is to give every high school student in Cameroon a laptop. They can start writing their essay on the laptop. They can start doing things, you know, and you know, they can, from there they can learn a lot of stuff. Like myself, when I came here, I didn't know much about computers, you know, and I assume a lot of people who come here, they don't too. So, but if we had a computer at home, I think I would be more technological savvy when I came here than when I came, you know.
Yeah, than the average American that you find here.
Right.
So I know you're still young. I want to really appraise that fact that you are really young at the stage where you are now. So you might not be thinking about going to Cameroon and maybe extending to Cameroon and in Central Africa in general just yet. But there is a IT revolution going on now in Cameroon and it's developing fast. So are you ever thinking about being part of that development?
Well, that's not even a question to be asked. Everybody wants to be part of it, you know. I mean, at least from my perspective, I think everybody would love to be part of it. And by doing what I told you earlier, you know, being part of it is not just being there, you know.
Yeah.
It's actually helping, like giving the technology that people need, giving the inspiration, giving the, you know, I like when I'm thinking about going back next year. When I go, I would like to meet those people and we talk, see some of the challenges that they have now, why it's not moving at the pace they want it to, and maybe if I can bring my, you know, my expertise, or if I can come back here and develop a strategy that can help them. If it's the money that they need, maybe if I can find some investor friends here that they can invest in the company or whatever it is, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, of course I want to be part of it, you know, and I think that's, you know, politics and all those things that we're not able to develop Africa, and I think technology is the only thing that can actually help develop Africa, you know, Cameroon in particular. You know, if people are technological savvy, they know how to use technology, they can compete in the marketplace in a global sense of it. You know, you know, people can stay in Cameroon and work for a corporation here in America. Like I live here, and then I have a lot of contractors in China and Vietnam that they work from Vietnam. You know. So yeah, what about Cameroonians? If they just have to learn English, you know, and if they have the computer at home. We have scarcity of work at home. They can stay at home and work for American companies. So yeah, we really need that, you know. Yep.
So then again, you're not in Cameroon, but that's something I want to have your opinion on. So do you think the lack of technology in the technology system in the structure of the Cameroonian system when it comes to getting jobs or trying to open businesses. Do you think that lack of technology is actually one major factor why a lot of startups don't come up?
Yeah, I mean, that can be one actually, but I don't think it's the main one.
Okay.
You know, the main one will be here. I think after 6 months when I came here, they started giving me like credit card offers, you know. There was this stuff, oh, you are qualified to get $600 loan to the $1,000 loan and stuff like that on your credit card, your credit limit, you know. And then in Cameroon in particular, I think it's a lack of money, you know.
Okay.
But the loan process too kind of discourage people, but I know people are very determined to have a business, they will do it anyways. Yeah. But I think the main reason why we don't have a lot of people starting a business back home is because they don't have, although they have good ideas and stuff like that, they don't have the funds adequate to actually put that into action, you know?
Okay.
Yeah, but we will also, you know, if Cameroonians are very good in technology, I think they will force our government to change to make that procedure very easy to everybody to register a business. Why not doing it like here, you know? Because doing it traditionally is not the answer in the 21st century. Yeah.
Okay.
But if I'm trying to answer your question, I think the main reason is, you know, people don't actually have funds to start business. Funding is the main thing.
It's the main thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so lastly, what advice would you give your peers, like us, who are trying to start something but we don't know where to, like, how to go about it, or maybe we have the many challenges you mentioned before. So what is one advice you would give them?
Wow, that's another great question, you know. The first advice, and I think you guys or anybody else have heard it a lot, is not to give up, you know? That's the main thing. Although people are trying to put you down, tell you you can't do it, tell you what you can do and what you can do, I think the first thing is about commitment. If you commit yourself, you say, okay, I'm not going to take your advice, I'm going to do it anyway. You know, and when you do it, times are going to get hard along the way, but if you just give up, I think they win. But if it was your commitment at first that I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna reach it, I see it, you know, I'm gonna get there, I think nobody can discourage you. And the second one would be about continue learning, you know. Although you can be very good in computer today, in 1, 2, 3 years, it's gonna be obsolete, you know, obsolete. And then you will need some new technological way to solve things. The way we solve problems today, I think 3 years ago was not the same way.
Yes.
So I will encourage people to really continue learning. Although you are not, don't say, okay, I'm not in the computer industry, I'm not going to know about it. But kind of go online, read some articles, read some helpful book that can help you improve, make your business more efficient, and make you compete and appeal, because competition is everywhere, especially here in America where 10,000 people are doing the same thing that you are doing. But if you appeal to the customer, I think that's more important. People will come to you anyways, you know. But if they come to you, they talk to you about what is WordPress, and you don't know what it is, they will go somewhere else, you know, because they actually everybody try to use the new technology, or you know. But if you are still using the old one, they will not, you know, they will go away. They will take your business away. And then the third one is actually, you know, surround yourself with good people. You know, I'm not saying to have problem with people, but you know, kind of draw a line between people who encourage you and people who always have bad ideas. Who will tell you water is always, I mean, in the glass, they will tell you water is half empty, you know. Surround yourself with those who say water is half full, you know. You know, because there's a difference. Although both are right, but the other one is more encouraging to tell you, yeah, you can do it. You are halfway through, you know. Instead of telling you, man, you can get there, look at the distance, you know, and stuff like that. So surround yourself with good people, have mentors that you can look up to, have models that you can say, oh, this guy Fabrice did it, so can I, you know. It's very important, because sometimes when you want to give out, you see those people and say, oh, Samuel was the best soccer player in Africa. I can be one too. If he did it, it means although we have racism and all those limitations, you know, I can still do it. So I think it's important to have role models and all the people who can encourage you to succeed. It's very important. So if I would get advice, just those three are very important. And
So you mentioned mentors and role models as two distinctive personalities. So I guess your role model, your mentor can be your role model. But your role model doesn't necessarily have to be your mentor. So what's your distinction between those two?
Oh, well, a role model for me is somebody that you just look at and be like, I want to be like that person.
Yes.
You know, that person, he brings all the art, you know. He's someone, you know, when you look at him, you just want to be like him. You're just like, oh my God, if this guy did it, I can do it. You know, he's just like, he kind of put the burning desire in your heart. You just want to be like him, you know. But on the other end, the mentor is someone where you can look up to, you can call when times are hard. Somebody who probably probably did the same business, you know, before, or even he can be in another industry, because at the end, business is business, you know. And he makes some mistake, he went through some hard roads, and he learned, and it's someone who can teach you to kind of avoid some of those mistakes that he has made already. So, but at the same time, you can have a role model who is actually a mentor to you, you know. You can have that, but most of the time it's hard. Some of my role models are some people that I can't even sit next to them. You know, they are way hard. They are trying it. So how do you get them to help you out? If you do that, that would be ideal. But most of the time it's impossible. So I think, but both are very vital. You need both. If you want to succeed, you need a role model who you're gonna look up to and be like, wow, if this guy did it, I'm gonna do it. I wanna get to his level, or even go beyond that, even higher, you know. And on the other end, you need a mentor who's gonna push you, give you some tricks about business, the road that you are gonna take. Is this a stop this way? We'll make sure when you get there, you stop, you know, and before you continue. You know, if you are going too fast, he's gonna kind of, you know, put you down and give you some advice, some great advice. It's gonna be someone that you trust, that you really wanting to be in control, in charge. You know,
Nice. So this is it for me, and I have a few questions that were sent to me through Facebook when I was doing the promotion for this interview, and I'm going to select some of them because we are kind of running out of time. So Ghislaine from Chicago is asking, how do you make sure you are abreast of your game in what you do, and what is your action plan for the next 5 years?
Well, Ghislaine, you said, that's a good question. You know, in the next 5 years, I have so many goals. I wanna, you know, make sure every Cameroonian or people in Africa in general have access to computers, and I really wanna send a lot of laptops back home, so that people can get it at a very low cost. They can afford it. A laptop that can last longer than the one that they buy from those kind of market. And I forgot the first part of the question.
How do you make sure you're abreast of your game? So how do you make sure you're
on top of my game? Okay, I think that's one of the last questions that I answered. It's all about continue learning. You know, don't get full to yourself and think like I know everything, because everything changes every 6 months. So to be on top of your game, you always have to learn. You always have to be sharp, you know, and know every tricks, every technology that is coming, and embrace it, you know, instead of trying to be like, oh, that's too much for me, I don't want to get there, you know. And that's what people do, and read a lot of articles online articles. On the internet there are a lot of self-help. If you need something, you can just Google it, and hopefully you'll find the answer that you want. If you have some of the difficulties, maybe some of the people who have went through the same thing already answer online on the forums. And the other thing is, you know, you need some professional society. You know, you have to be a member of some professional society related to your field. Like me, I'm a member of AITP, which is an association of IT professionals. You know, and they have some articles that are not biased. They kind of give you the insight of the industry without being biased, you know, because some of the articles they have been paid to write about that, and honestly don't, you know. So when you are a member of those associations, it's very helpful to know what is right and what is, you know,
just funny. So Chris from Florida is saying, I really applaud you, and it is refreshing to see a young brother do the things that you do. But as we all know, one thing that scares young entrepreneurs is the lack of funding. How did you personally circumvent that issue?
Well, people, honestly, it depends. If you are doing product, if you have a very good design of a product that you want to sell, I think funding can be a barrier to get where you want to get. You need a lot of funding because you need to manufacture. You need, even though you don't want to manufacture them in the US, you need some money to travel abroad. You have to meet partners who can do it for you and stuff like that. And I think in that in that case, it can be very challenging. You really need a lot of
Yes.
funds. But in my case, I provide service. You know, most of my business is about services, and what I do is you can really balance. You can really get money from clients and invest it. You know,
Okay.
you can really work on somebody's computer. He pay you $80. You buy you buy the screwdriver or buy a domain or whatever you need.
Yes.
And then the next client come, $100, you buy something else. So when it comes to service, I think you don't need a lot of funding. You don't need a location when you start. You can start providing service to your friends and family, and ultimately grow. And once you feel like you have a very large customer base, now you can look for a location or whatever, you know. And so in my case, unfortunately, I didn't need a lot of funding to start, and yeah.
Okay. Well, this is it. Thank you so much for coming today again. I know as an entrepreneur, it's very hard to find time to do this, so we really appreciate it.
Well, yeah, this is really hard to find time, but when it comes to something like this, very informative, very how can I say, inspiring. You will always find time for it. And then I also encourage you guys for what you are doing. I just hope you guys keep doing it because it's very important. I think by doing this, not only to me or established business people, but if you can also do it for people who are just starting out, maybe you will help them. And I hope this interview will also inspire some of them who were trying to start, and they are trying to kind of hesitating between starting out or not. And I just wish you guys much success.
Thank you.
I hope in the few years we will meet again
Yes,
for the
yes.
interview, and you guys will be already going to the next level.
Yes, we're going to keep in touch with you to see where you're going and how you are helping African communities, not only here but also abroad. So thank you guys again for tuning in today, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube page and also on our Facebook. Leave your critics, comments, and if you need to join Fabrice, you can also send us an email to the address that's going to be provided in the comments. It was Afro in Action. I'm Denise, and see you next time.